Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago. Tell us how he appeared on your radar and what the response is.
Well, so first of all, I'm thankful for Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, which I sued a few times before he did that. And now it's where I get a lot of my news.
Of course, and everyone else.
And so I get criticized by the lamestream media, if you will, for being perpetually online. But that's actually where I see a lot of the civil rights violations in our country being exposed, because people, elected officials in our country, feel very comfortable acting with impunity and stating with impunity that they're going to discriminate. And so he said the quiet part out loud, which is, in Chicago, according to his words, I hire mainly Black people for the positions of authority.
Business and Economic Neighborhood Development, the deputy mayor is a Black woman. Department of Planning and Development is a Black woman. Infrastructure deputy mayor is a Black woman. Chief Operations Officer is a Black man. Budget director is a Black woman. Senior advisor is a Black man.
And, you know, he listed out, he was at a church, and he was
at a church, he said that?
At a church. And, you know, I had a media reach out to me.
You had to yank their tax exemption, those freaking churches.
Well,
Excuse me.
I had a reporter reach out to me saying, how did this come to your attention? I mean, as if it was some kind of secret. I responded, well, the 3 angles of camera, I think, suggests that it wasn't meant to be confidential or anything, but it wasn't like some kind of a sting operation. He publicly said, I find, you know, people of a certain description to be better, and I want to help them build their businesses. And so I'm giving them government jobs. It's kind of counterintuitive. And what that says, and what I've been hearing since I came out and said, oh, really? And then we opened up a federal civil rights investigation the following day into the hiring practices.
The following day?
The following day, less than 24 hours after I saw that video. My team, you know, stepped up, and we've opened a federal civil rights investigation into the apparent violations of federal employment law that are occasioned by preferring one race over the other in hiring.
His predecessor, Lori Lightfoot, said at a press conference, I'm not talking to white people. I don't like them. I'm not talking to them. I'm not answering any questions from white reporters. And no one did anything about it. So that's the environment that produced Brandon Johnson, where you could just like openly be racist. You know, I don't like Jews. I don't like whites. I don't like Blacks. Whatever. No, who talks like that?
Well, Tucker, every university administrator in the United States, even in the face of the Students for Fair Admissions case at Harvard. So that's another project that we're dealing with at the Civil Rights Division, is the absolute extent of the impunity with which campus administrators are continuing to discriminate and openly defy Supreme Court precedent. So we've opened up numerous investigations into that as well. But it's a pervasive problem in our country that racism has become institutionalized to the point where people just feel comfortable saying, yeah, I'm sorry you're a white man. Thanks for playing. And you don't get admission, you don't get a job, and you don't get to have equal opportunity. Asians as well. This is blatant discrimination and racism in our country. And our job at the Civil Rights Division, for so long as I'm in charge of it, is to eradicate that. Take it on, make examples, and put a stop to it.
Every time I hear someone in the administration talk about this, they frame it around Israel, which I find infuriating. Not because I'm against Israel, but like, what does Israel have to do with it? They're discriminating against American citizens. Why, from a public relations perspective, wouldn't it just be better to stick to the principle that in the United States, you can't use government money to discriminate against American citizens on the basis of race? Like, why not just say that?
Well, I think that there is a certain strain of anti-Semitism that's unique that we are confronting, but it's American citizens who are the victims of it. And so religious discrimination is also illegal in our federal civil rights laws. And so where you have students who are wearing yarmulkes and they're being blocked by their professors and their classmates from entering their classes, that's illegal. And we're just calling it that.
I know, but let's be real. I mean, that's just silly. Look at the numbers. Are Jewish students, 2% of the population? Are there more than 2% at Ivy League schools? Yeah. White Christian students, what percentage of the population are they? 30 something? Are they 30%? Not even close. So So like we could just reduce it to, but it's like you can't even say that for some reason. I mean, the discrimination has been going on for 60 years against white Christians, and the numbers show it. So like, do you know what I mean?
But I'm saying that. We are saying that under my leadership, and the people who I work with, they are taking it on frontally. It's racism.
Everybody wants freedom, but what is freedom exactly? Well, here's what we know. You can't have freedom if you don't have privacy. 1984, you may recall, is a story about a total lack of privacy and a totally omnipresent government. Totalitarianism begins with no privacy. The problem is if you use the internet every day, and everybody does, then you don't have any privacy because it's all open. Data brokers and big tech are recording and saving everything you do online and then selling it. Talk about invasive. We've got 2 recommendations for how to restore privacy. The first is trashing all your technology and going full Luddite. That would definitely work. Abandoning electricity. Actually like that option. Probably pretty hard for most people to do that, including me. The second is to use a VPN, and the one we use is called ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is a new feature called Identity Defender. It's available to all American customers at no extra cost. Identity Defender scours the files of data brokers, requests to have your information removed from their files, and sends you a notification if anyone uses your social security number, which is obviously the first step to identity theft. You can get an extra 4 months for free when you use this show's link. Scan the QR code on the screen right now, or go to expressvpn.com/Tucker. Get 4 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/Tucker.
Yes.
It is racist. It is illegal now under the Supreme Court's clear direction. And Harvard is doing it, and Princeton is doing it, and all of these schools are doing it. I mean, so there's many different kinds of discrimination happening. There's foreign money coming into our campuses, and I mean, there was a report recently that Stanford is basically under control of the Chinese Communist Party. So all of these problems are happening at the same time. And, they've been allowed to drift, and people have been bullied, and people are, I was explaining to someone the other day that to do this job correctly, you have to not care what people think about you at cocktail parties.
Well, clearly, but you're way past that. But can I just ask, I guess what I worry about, just to put a finer point on what I was attempting to express, identity politics is just bad, kind of no matter who's getting hurt and no matter who's benefiting. It's just bad. It divides the country. Is there some way to just de-racialize the whole thing and just return to colorblind standards in admission, hiring, and contracting?
There is. I mean, that's what our laws demand. And so that's what the Supreme Court ruled in that one case. But, to take on the mayor of Chicago, we didn't do that 4 years ago.
No, that's
we didn't
right.
do that under the Bush administration. We just sort of, people in power just sort of sat there and took it as if there was some need to atone for prior sins by discriminating against American citizens today. And I mean, Asians are discriminated against in hiring in Silicon Valley. I've taken on many cases of that, and in universities. What did these recent immigrants do to deserve discrimination other than being successful and then being punished for it? And so you really can't right the wrongs of the past by being racist today. I think we really have to have that level of moral clarity and just say that and operate that way.
Well, it's collective punishment is what it really is. You're saying someone who looked like you did something bad, therefore I'm punishing you, or someone who looked like you was hurt, therefore you get the benefit now. I mean, the whole thing is just it eliminates the idea of the individual, of the individual, the unique human soul.
Right, which is counter to the very principles on which our country was founded.
Yes.
The entire Enlightenment was all about individual rights and responsibility.
Yeah.
And we're engaging in, Chinese communist level collective guilt and collective punishment.
It does feel that way.
It does feel that way, and it feels that way on campuses. And I think back, I thought it was bad at Dartmouth when I was at Dartmouth more than 35 years ago, almost 40 years ago now when I went to Dartmouth, and it's so much worse today in most of these campuses. But like calling it what it is, naming it as racism and discrimination is a start. Now, we will follow through. We will bring cases. Proud of our president for spearheading, yanking money, our federal tax dollars, away from the institutions that are the worst offenders. And I think you're going to see much more of that happening soon.
I completely agree.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.